video of the day. I've had a lot to say today. Sorry if you've heard a bit of background noise, but I've got new gerbils. So the rats have been replaced since they died with gerbils, and my wee boy loves them. So they might be a bit rattling some of the videos. Sorry, but nature is as nature does. As for speaking of children, this is actually what the video is about. Yours what? Bear with me. For a very long time now, in games, for as long as I can remember, there has been a dispute between the publishers of games and parents. And it's always been, you know, a game has an 18 certificate. Say it's, I don't know, anywhere from between like South Park The Stick of Truth to like Grand Theft Auto or The Order 1886, Batman Arkham Knight. COD. Wow. There's like so many big budget, AAA, high quality games have an 18 certificate. Which is fair and just considering their content. And that content is aimed at an audience that is able to afford and buy their own games, thus keeping the industry afloat. All well and good so far. However, here's the rub. When kids like games, one, they want to play what everybody else is playing. Two, a lot of parents don't seem to understand that an age certification on a box is not only a guide, but it's also a legal issue. You know, your child is not allowed to play this game. Back in the days of cinema, when cinema was everything, you know, there were films that, you know, and there are still films that have a particular age rating on them. And if the cinema lets someone under that age into that film knowingly, the cinema gets in trouble. Much the same if you walk into Game or GameStop or whatever. You know, even Asda, if you are someone who is not of the right age to buy that game, the store gets in trouble and therefore they will not sell it to you. It makes complete and utter sense. Now you will get some parents who will obfuscate this rule and will just go and buy the game for their child. I've seen it done countless times. But the thing is, the kids want to play these games, and to a certain degree you can't blame them. Because these games, you know, that they're wanting have been hyped to death all over the TV and the internet and social media. You know, they've been in the magazines, they've been on the cinema screens, you know, they've probably been even on the back of the packet of crisps that they're eating at the lunch break. You know, it's like, games are big business. They're probably one of the biggest businesses out there. You know, like next to oil and war. You know, they're bigger than cinema. Think about that. The games industry is bigger than Hollywood. Think of the budgets of some games. Think of like the budget of Destiny. Alright? So these are high-end entertainment properties. And of course, kids are going to want a slice of that. Can you really blame them? Now, okay, yeah, I do feel somewhat aggrieved when I see a kid that's 14 playing Grand Theft Auto 5. You know, because when I was 14, my mum would not have let me do that. So I'll admit, there's a little bit of bias from me on that. I'll put my hand up to admit it, I am slightly biased. But when I stand back and I look at the problem from another angle, you know, it occurs to me, the only thing that can really be done is to make better games for kids. Because I don't know if you've ever like helped like a nephew or a niece or a cousin who's younger play one of their games. By and large, kids' games are geek. They're built on repetitive engines that have been, they take the one engine from one game and they copy and paste it and just change the paint job. I mean, like, have you ever tried to play a SpongeBob SquarePants game to help out your friend's kid who can't do it? I've done that. Ask Sebastian. It's like the guy who was on my video, the young kid. It's like, trust me, I helped him when he was much younger try to get through a SpongeBob SquarePants game on his, I think it was a PS2. Oh my god, it was hard. And it wasn't hard because it was, a tricky game to play. It was hard because the mechanics were awful. The physics were awful. The controls were really awful. Kids' games are not made well. They are beyond shovelware, beyond cookie cutter. A lot of manufacturers, when they make games for kids, don't give a monkeys. Because kids don't buy as many games. Yes, okay, they have adults that will buy games for them, but there's less games overall. Children usually tend to get games at Christmas, birthday, maybe an occasional treat. Maybe they have an uncle that spoils them once in a while. Maybe a bar mitzvah if you're Jewish, I don't know. But, it's your average kid, to best of my knowledge, and, if you're a kid and you're watching this and you want to correct me, feel free in the comment section and let me know your situation. Your situation could, however, be unique to you. A child may receive a maximum of 3 to 4 games a year. Now, if you're a big publisher, are you really wanting to put in the R&D for 3 or 4 sales, to a child? You could be game number 5, which means you could sell a lot less games if a lot less kids decide they want your game. Then you also have to look at the other end of kids' games. How many toys to life games are there? You've got Amiibos to the end of the earth. You've got Skylanders. You've got Skylanders Racing. You've got Lego Dimensions. You've got the Star Wars property, and more besides. And then you got things like, like Animal Crossing and stuff. Which, okay, a lot of these games are also played by adults, but they're just, the Toys to Life games. There's 1 or 2 that are kind of special, and the rest are just horrible cash grab situations. Yes, okay, there's challenge factor in them and stuff, but if you stack a Skylanders game up against, like, I don't know, let's figure a real classic here. Something like Sleeping Dogs. You look at Sleeping Dogs. You'd play Sleeping Dogs all day and all night before even thinking about touching Skylanders. And that's me, a so-called adult talking, And I would bet you quite a bit that there'll be a lot of kids out there in that sort of 14 to 17 bracket that would happily gravitate towards Sleeping Dogs. So, what do? How can we really manage to get to a point where decent games are made for kids? Well, probably not. No, because games cost money to make. And if there's less sales to a particular demographic, then the company's going to lose money on a game. So, what do? Do we nerf the games? Well, no, because people would get round the nerfing, If you put an age range on a game, and then if the user, tells their system how old they are, then it would automatically, censor parts of the game. And I hate censorship, but it's the best word I can think of right now, or for the appropriate to the age range. Yeah, you could do that, but then also what happened is no kid worth his salt would put in his actual age. He'd fake ID it. He'd make himself to be 25 or herself to be 25. So we'd be right back in the same situation where where kids that can't handle it. Though some kids can, some kids can't. And in my opinion, there are more kids that can't handle violent video games. And that's not to say we should ban violent video games, because god damn it, I enjoy them. And so do many people my age range. It's a sticky situation. Basically, the only thing we can really do is, as people who are parents, and I happen to be one, we have to teach our children that, there are some games that are just not for them. And the games that are for them, we have to just do a wee bit of research. And if you've stumbled onto this video and you're a parent and you have a kid that's a gamer, then talk to people like me. Ask people like me questions, because we're always happy to help guide you non-gamers. You know, we want to make sure that, you know, our community is strong and that our community is looked after. So what we need to do is help parents who don't know anything about games and don't know anything about gaming make sure that their kids get something good and don't get something super violent. Like, my wee boy is 6 and he knows, and he actually could say this, is like, Zeph, do you know why you don't play that game? Because it's not appropriate, Daddy? That is actually what he said, because I have taught him that. We have to teach children things. We can't just throw them into the world and let stuff happen. You have to teach your children. So, with that in mind, when he knows that I tell them that a game is not for him because it's inappropriate, he gets that because I've sat down with him and I've explained it to him at length at his level. So, we have to teach our children that, you know, there are certain games they can't play, why they can't play them, not just legally, but also, you know, because they will not be able to handle those games at the age they are. You do get some kids who are a little bit older for their age and what their actual age is, but those kids are few and far between. And basically, we just have to do our research. You know, it takes nothing. You talk to some gaming friends, you know. You'd find a video like this and you hit me up in the comment section and you go, Zemblock, you were mentioning this, what's a good title? And you know what? Generally someone like me is able to come back to you and give you a bit of advice. I can do it on Twitter, not a problem. You know, it's all good. You follow me on the Twitter account, Zemblock, easy. Or, you know, you get on that Google, you do a wee bit of research about the game. You know, you don't have to like trawl through 1,000 IGN articles or GameSpot or Video Gamer or whoever else, or sit through a million kind of funny videos. Gamers are everywhere. We are everywhere, okay? And most of us are quite willing to offer up the information to make gaming more successful, because we love this medium and we want to see it be looked after and be strong and succeed. Because gaming is important to gamers. Like football fans, football is important to them. Boxing fans, boxing is important to them. You know, you've got someone that does martial arts is important to them. Whatever it is your thing, it's important to you. For us, it's gaming. It's important to us. So naturally want to look after it. And then looking after it means we also have to look after the likes of the non-gamer. Okay? It's you know, when you start to think it through, it's a symbiotic relationship. Gamers have to look after non-gamers and non-gamers have to look after gamers. You know? It's just the way of things in my book. Now I could be wrong, but I get the sneaky suspicion that I'm not. So, in wrapping this up, talk to gamers. Do the research. Don't let your kids who are underage play overage games unless you're damn sure they can handle it. And follow the letter of the law. If your kid is 12, your kid is not allowed an 18 certificate game. If your kid is 12, your child is not allowed a 16 certificate game. It's that simple. Anyway guys, I'm gonna scoot off because my light source is just faded. Dear God. I'm going to love you and leave you. So, as always, please remember to rate, favourite, comment, share and subscribe. And as always, aye, nae bother.